therapeutically speaking, right? When I'm working with someone to overcome something or to shift or to create space for themselves in a way that they haven't experienced before, generally speaking, gratitude and the way that people like really connect to it and feel it requires a reference point of adversity. And appreciation requires a reference point of the awareness of abundance. And again, I don't know if that applies everywhere else, but in therapeutic sense, when I work with it and I work with that energy to help people release trauma, it actually like flips from what everybody initially pronounced it as, generally speaking. Right? We get a deep sense of gratitude when we've experienced the opposite of the thing that we're now grateful for, right? And that's the general term I'm putting under the umbrella of adversity, right? We're super grateful that we survived a plane crash, for example, and counsel erase that for anybody and anybody we love. But that is an example, is an extreme one, is a useful one, because it's like, oh, wow, I'm super grateful for being alive because I almost died, right? Appreciation is a different energy that operates in a different way, and we could flip them. I don't care about the language, but I just want the idea of those two being different, and they're those two being different enough that we got to pay attention to how we apply them in any work that we're trying to create space and expand and grow and change feelings and beliefs. So appreciation doesn't come from the reference point of scarcity, right? Or adversity, or the experience of not having the thing, right? Appreciation actually is an energy of, wow, this thing that I really want and desire is abundant, and I really appreciate that it's abundant. And I can come to that without having to necessarily go through the direct experience of the lack of it. Right? The idea of like, well, I'm in deep gratitude for what my ancestors lost and suffered through in order for me to feel the gratitude of having some of that they didn't have, right? I'm looking at the piece of the idea that a burden is purposeful because it's a reference point for gratitude, which it is, right? We get very appreciative of things that we've not had or experienced, and we get very grateful for being able to experience them. But appreciation is an awareness of deep, deep, deep value and abundance without the scarcity, without the lack, without having to have personally gone through the deficit. So if we can appreciate having a whole bunch of food that we know is going to be plentiful, and we're really aware of its abundance, it positions us to a different come from, but how we interact with that than gratitude does. Because gratitude comes from the experience of the lack of the thing, whereas appreciation is just like, wow, this is abundant. I've never experienced it in a lack, but I can still have deep appreciation for the abundance that's here without having to hang on to the necessity of the experience of lack. So what's useful about this is that this puts us in a very profoundly powerful position to be the cycle breaker, right? What if we just were able to pass on appreciation? The idea that this is abundant and you should value it. Not that this is scarce, and because it's scarce, when you get some, you should value it, right? The way we're sort of operating with gratitude. And again, we can flip the words around it, but there's these two tracks that I've run into so many times, even when I haven't been looking for them, in working with people to actually impact them into behavioral change. And that only occurs when you feel differently inside, right? It's not a thinking thing, it's a feeling thing.